All right, the Reds, it is the late challenge. The late challenge after Liverpool lost a game of football where you win a big 50 pence. And who's really arsed? I'm not. Hopefully you're not, and hopefully they're not, and hopefully everything's sound. But let's concentrate on some positives first of all. And the big one is it's nearly here. It's nearly here. The new season. An end to empty weekends. A stop to the dark nights of the soul. The match is back. The routine is on. You can argue with strangers again. The media outrage is back. And Liverpool, in about 4 days and 2.5 hours or so, 2 hours, 45 minutes, for those watching live, Liverpool will set about defending the Premier League title because we are the champions, and in every single game this season we get to sing with the champions. So make sure you all do it. Make sure you rub it in to every single person. This is one of the good things about being the champions, and we want to be the champions again. We want to defend the title. So are the Reds ready? What's the pre-season told us? Did all that matter yesterday, or did it not really? We'll talk about the good, the bad, the ugly from Wembley. We'll talk about lots of other things too over the next 2 hours, here for free, and over there on the Patreon show for a couple of quid or a free trial. We're going to take that away soon. More on that later. But anyway, Mo, one of your tweets, as I sent you, went viral without a credit to you, which is very annoying, isn't it? It was very Mo of you to just reply, good news travels fast, because I thought, this is where me and you are different. Because if someone had screenshotted my tweet and put it on their account and got 11,000, likes or whatever out of it, I would have been, lad, where's the credit, man?
So, a couple of things on that. First of all, my own tweet itself did get quite a lot of traction. So, just checking it now, currently 1,193 reposts, 391 quotes, 16.7 thousand likes.
Not bad.
So it's doing all right.
Not bad. This was on Instagram.
Yeah, so, and also the account that did it, Liverpool Goals, they are one of the accounts that I kind of share stuff with. Or when I do my press conference review, I kind of tag them in it and then they share it around.
Oh, so, fair enough. So you got a bit of love going.
It's a bit of a quid pro quo type thing.
It's just me steaming in with haymakers as usual.
It's fine. But you're right, because it shows you are and I are very different. But it works. Yeah. Like, we have each other's back in all these kind of things.
Exactly.
The thing that I found the funniest about it, well, two things. One, technically it's incorrect, because in my mind it was like 2010 to 2025 is 15 years, and it only happened once. Technically it happened in 2010, so really that's twice in 15 years, as a lot of people have decided to remind me. But the point still stands, in as much as it's very rare in the modern era for that to be an indicator of winning the league. The other thing that I found hilarious about it, and this always happens, whenever I just tweet a stat, whenever I just tweet a fact, everybody else puts their own kind of inference on it. It's like, oh, it must mean you're saying this, or don't say that. Or it's like, I'm not saying anything. I'm not saying anything about what this means. I'm just telling you that this fact is a fact. And whatever you want to take from it, you take it away from it. Some people, my favourite part is all the Palace fans were like, damn it, we're not going to win the league now.
Fair play. I mean, look, I don't begrudge them at all. I think they've had a great time, apart from the ruling today that they will not be in the Europa League, which I'm sure we'll come on to talk about later, because what does that mean for things affecting Liverpool? Well, something quite significant, maybe. We shall see. But yeah, we've dodged the Community Shield curse, as someone called it today to me. Cara, it was you, wasn't it? Ah, yeah, if you're watching, son, love you. But yeah, none of the past 5 teams to have lifted the Community Shield have won the title, and only one of the past 14, City in 18-19, have done so. Baldy Paul, mate, he sent me a tweet this morning saying, last 15 Shield winners have won the league twice, last 15 Shield runners-up have won the league 6 times. We are statistically 3 times more likely to be champions in May. Hashtag, it's on. I'm with Paul on that. It's on. It can. There it is. But yeah, Liverpool, of course, did draw 2-2 with Crystal Palace at Wembley and lost 3-2 on penalties. So I guess I guess we've got to talk about all of that. But until we do like, pure like, proper analysis and all that, I want to ask you about the big things.
Oh yeah.
And the big things are not what was the formation, and they are not possession, and they are not shots on target. They are mowers in the press box.
Oh
yeah. So I want to know. I've sort of had a bit of a spoiler, but for the benefit of the audience, how was the scrum?
So, the spoiler you had was not the greatest to start. Although, to be fair, so we was together earlier in the day, and you all had your roast dinner at the pub we were at.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, I'm going to save myself. I'm going to see what the home of football has to offer. And what it had to offer was a steak and ale pie, and then a load of veg. Well, I say a load of veg. It was like massive broccoli and peas, which I hate, as everyone knows, and a few piddly carrots around. And it came in one of these little trays. And I was just a bit like, I was expecting more. But then, I have to be honest and say, the pie was actually really, really nice. Like it wasn't...
The placenta thing.
No, okay. Considering the pie that I had the day before at the other stadium that we'll go on to talk about on the Saturday where the other lot play, this was prime A quality pie. Like really succulent beef. And yeah, it was good. And then at half time...
Meal? A succulent Chinese meal?
No, I thought, that would have been great. And then at half time, they were doing sausage rolls and cookies, and they were both fantastic. So it wasn't as bad, but it wasn't wow. That's kind of how I felt about the whole scenario. Because I was talking to you before, I was like, I wanted to see what, like, this is the big one, really, in England in terms of, like, press. If you're doing press at Wembley, then that means you're obviously doing something good. And I went there, and it was like, it was big, and you had lots of room for everyone, and then you had the room where everyone was working, and the room where you had the canteen in it. And it was like all very well appointed. They had like a vending machines where you could get drinks and all that kind of gear. But it wasn't like spectacular. It wasn't like, wow, this is Wembley. It was just a very well appointed room. It was good. It wasn't great.
Perfunctory.
Yeah. But, I still enjoyed myself there. I had a good old chat with all of the Liverpool beat crew and a few of the others who I see less regularly. Yeah. That's possibly the bit that I enjoy the most about press rooms now, is just chatting to people.
Yeah, it is good, that side of things. What I want to know as well, because I went in the press box of the old Wembley, but I was just with the normal people in this game. In the old Wembley, I went for the League Cup final when Tranmere played Leicester.
Oh, yeah.
Because I was working for a paper on the Wirral at the time. And I got to vote, unbeknown to me, on the man of the match. So, like, I was sat there, this young kid, made up that I'd blagged into Wembley, to be honest, because I think the reason... What was the fella called who had the massive throws for Tranmere?
Oh,
Dave
Challoner.
Challoner. So Dave Challoner was from the Ellesmere Port area, and the paper I worked was Ellesmere Port. So when I pitched it to Wembley about why I wanted accreditation, I was like, we want to do a bit of a write-up on the game, but also I want to do a Dave Challoner watch, and like 10 minutes, another massive throw from Dave, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But they bought it and they let me in, and I got a roast dinner that day. I remember that. I remember seeing Stan Collymore in the bowels of Wembley and thinking, Christ, you're a big fella. But yeah, that came as a bit of a shock to me. I was there, and then someone came round after however many minutes, 80 odd minutes, or whatever, like, who's your man of the match? And I was like,
Did you say Dave?
No, I did not say Dave. I didn't say Dave. No, I can't remember who I did vote for. I think maybe Elliott. Was it Matt Elliott playing for them that day?
Yeah.
Could have been that I voted for him, I think. But it was like the such and such trophy, you know what I mean? Some name.
Alan Hardaker.
I thought it was Hardacre. Yeah, I was going to say that, but I was going to say Matthew, and I was thinking that's wrong. So I'm glad you've got a better memory than me. So did you get to do that?
No, I didn't. No, and I didn't even know.
1-0 to Robert.
So I didn't even know about it. But the thing is, though, I think it's a sponsors thing now. So, like, whoever, I'm not sure who the sponsors are, the Community Shield, or maybe it's just the FA dignitaries or whatever. But yeah, not a hint.
A couple of things that have come in already. Thanks for all the comments. Love it when it's a bit more interactive for me. You know me, I've got my eye on the comments. Derek, straight in with $10 for the kitty. Thank you, mate. Much appreciated. And he says, hello from California, fellas. I appreciate this podcast. Mo, great shirt. Would love to know your thoughts on Cody Gakpo. Not sure he's dynamic enough or contributes enough when he's not scoring. You will never walk alone.
See, I was having a chat with someone at half time, and he had been having a really long and aggressive debate about someone with Gakpo. Sorry, about Gakpo with someone on his WhatsApp group. And he was saying, what do you think about it? And I'm like, the thing with him is, we've said this before, is that you can always know what he's going to do, but you can't always stop what he's going to do. And I do think that he, as a rotation piece, is going to be valuable to Liverpool. I think there's going to be times in the season where he's in a purple patch and he's going to be scoring every week and he's going to be contributing. But I think that he's not at the level where you think that he's going to be doing that every single week. So we're probably going to come on to talk about transfers at some point. But I think if you've got a rotation of 5 or 6 senior attackers, he more than happily fits in. If you're telling me he's going to be the starting left winger for 75% of the season, then that might be a little bit different. But I think part of the problem with him as well is that people get frustrated with him because there are times when he will make a mistake. So the break where there was like potentially like 5-on-2, and he plays the ball literally the only place he can play it where it will get stopped by a Palace player, and you think, oh, that could have been. And people kind of obsess about those moments. But I think if you talk about a wider contribution to a team, I think he's very, very good. I think he's a very good team player. So I'd keep Gakpo. And yeah, thank you. This is a nice shirt, isn't it?
Second top goal scorer last season, Cody Gakpo, and that was with an injury as well. So I'd just throw that in. Might not have been his best day yesterday. He wasn't alone in that respect. We obviously are going to come on to that. But Sam made a good point in the comments as well, which, you know, I haven't mentioned anywhere else, but I did clock it, and I did think that's shit. And I did think that would possibly fall into, you know, a fuck-off football type category. For those that haven't seen that, that is when we tell football to fuck off because it's doing stuff that isn't right, isn't fair, isn't the right direction of travel. And Sam rightly puts out that it's called the Community Shield, but you can't even watch it on free TV anymore.
Yes.
And he said the only thing communal was everyone trying to find a dodgy stream. Which, yeah, it's very true. I guess that was very true for people trying to watch it. And look, you know, it was previously on ITV. And like, you just feel like some games should be on terrestrial TV. You know, so. Footy is the national sport, and it shouldn't just be for the money. Be that going through the turnstiles or sitting at home and watching it too. And like, yeah, I'm with you, Sam. It is grim. It is something that, you know, should be addressed. And it should, to me, it should, you know, there should just be some like protection around certain things, like, you know, finals should be on the telly. Yeah. This should be on the telly. You know what I mean?
No, I agree. I think they always used to do that, ring fence in certain sporting events for terrestrial TV, because they are cultural totems, you can call it. So like FA Cup final, Wimbledon, Grand National, a few others, and they've kind of been minimised slowly but surely. More and more of them have been siphoned off, and this is another one. But we spoke last week, didn't we, about the reason why it's called the Community Shield, no longer the Charity Shield, because the FA aren't following the rules of an actual charity. And this is just another kind of example of that. This is a money decision by the FA. That's the only reason what it is. TNT have come in there and they've offered them more money to show the game than ITV have, and they said, all right, sound. They haven't thought about the wider conversation that we were just having about where it sits and how important it is. And frankly, how little live football involving the best teams in the country is on terrestrial TV. Like, it's, I mean, because obviously the FA Cup's there, but even the FA Cup now is split across TNT. So
this is the thing where I just kind of think, and I won't immediately fully get on the soapbox here because there's loads of other stuff to talk about. But this is where I just think if you zoom out of it all and take a big look at the big picture, it's like, What football once was when we were kids has been scooped up, polished, repackaged, and sent back out there for loads of money. And meanwhile, loads of people are now looking in from the outside, and it's like, well, why are we all just sitting here and allowing this to happen? Like, this is why me personally, I get involved in all the supporters group stuff, because someone somewhere has got to try and fight back against all this stuff. Someone somewhere's got to try and stop it. And there's like little blurts on the internet that have a go at me. And I find it really odd when people are saying like some little knob, I did a jokey tweet about the weird doors at the end of the platform in Central. Saying like, do they lead to Scouse Narnia or whatever? Because I don't know what they do lead to. They say Hunt's Cross, and that doesn't make sense because you can't go through them doors and end up in Hunt's Cross.
When we were talking about this on Sunday, I knew this was going to end up on the show.
I know. I didn't actually mean it to. It's just where my brain's going. But anyway, some knob replied to that saying, someone Sam replied to that saying, I actually saw it. Was that you on Hanover Street? I said, oh, that was me, mate. And then someone else replied, was he complaining about the price of the bars? And I'm like, just show me sides, not bad. All right, so everyone who does try and keep ticket prices low, just give up, shall we, mate? Yeah. Should we just say, okay, fuck it. Unless you're rich, you're not going the fucking game anymore. Because that's what'll happen.
The thing is, right?
Is that what you want? That's what'll happen.
I say this for the first but not the last time. It's so much easier for people to sit on the sidelines and take shots at people who are sticking their neck out to try and make something different than actually sticking their neck out to try and make something different. So,
indeed,
all of those people who are willing to kind of write ridiculous tweets on the internet that are never going to have to back up, fine. Let them go out and shout into the void.
Anyway, matter. I mean, and look, I'm tired, and when I'm tired, blurts get to me.
He's cranky, everybody.
The excellently named Gareth Percival has thrown in £5 to the late challenge pot, and he asks quite rightly, where are the crisps? Here's a £5 to buy a bag or two. Cheers, mate. Thank you. And you're very right. There's been no crisps on the show for a few weeks. Probably do need to address that. I think what we're going to do is if we get some wherever they come from, ourselves or elsewhere, we'll disappear under the desk, not like that, and try them out and then reappear. Because some people were being a bit meldrew, saying didn't want to listen to crunching and cleaning of teeth with tongue and all of that.
We should do a separate channel just for that,
Yeah, a bit of ASMR TLC.
Yeah.
I'm glad I got that out. David Williams also has chipped in £10 Thank you, David. These are all feeling very generous today. This is nice, isn't it?
The love.
He's thrown a tenner and says, have a steak pie on me. Love the pod. Keep her lit. Is right, lad. Is right. Thanks, Dave. What I quite fancy a steak pie as well. Man, have that for me too. Yeah, just, you know what I mean? Why that's in my head now. It is right. Other people coming in saying that they're big fans of Gakpo and all that. I like him. I would not want to see him binned.
No, absolutely not.
But equally, we're going to come on to the fact that, the big fella at the back is saying he doesn't think we've got that many attacking options. Anyway, so we've done the Wembley press box, we've done the man of the match, we've done the scran. Oh, that's what I wanted to ask you as well. How was Arne?
So interesting. I think he was trying to keep a lid on the fact that he didn't want everyone to freak out, because I think he's conscious now of where Liverpool are, that every time something good happens or something bad happens, there's an extreme reaction. Liverpool don't win, then there's going to be an extreme reaction after all of the talk of transfers and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So he was very much like, I want to be clear, we're not happy. We came here to win and we didn't win. And I think there was a couple of lines where you got
to draw though.
Yeah, I know. But they came to win. They came for the trophy, and they went home without the trophy. That's probably a better way to put it. But there was a line that he was talking about where we're not conceding chances, but we are conceding goals. And you could just sense a little bit of frustration in him there. And I think he wanted to kind of walk that line between let's not get carried away, but also I don't want to pretend like this game doesn't matter. I don't want to pretend like losing the game doesn't matter, because we are Liverpool and we have standards and we want to win every game we're in. And I think he did it quite well. But yeah, the thing that stood out to me the most wasn't even what he said in the press conference, even though he was good in the press conference. If you go, I don't know if you get a chance to go back and watch it. I suppose if you're on TNT, then you can watch it. The moment where Palace are going up to collect the trophy, Liverpool are kind of standing on the pitch watching them, doing a respectful thing, waiting to see your opponents will collect their trophy. And he was just stood there on the pitch like this. And you could tell that he was just thinking, it's like, fucking hell. Wow. You could just sense all of the cogs turning in his brain, just thinking, right, I've got to make sure this doesn't happen again. I've got to make sure the next time we're here at Wembley on this pitch, we are winning something. We aren't going up first, we're going up second. And we're going up with those jaunty hats on with bells on our heads and scarves around our necks, and we're here to win. Because that's the other thing, isn't it? Like, people have kind of connected this game to the Newcastle League Cup final, like the last two times Liverpool come to Wembley, they've come empty-handed. And
people have connected that penalty shootout to the one against Paris Saint-Germain.
Yes, exactly. And I mean,
people have connected Mo missing a penalty to Mo missing a penalty last week.
Yes. Well, that one I do think is valid, because it wasn't just the fact that he missed both penalties, he missed them the same way. Mm. It was almost like in his mind, he was thinking, the last one, I kind of didn't put it, I was just kind of, trying to float it up there. I was taking it a little bit relax. But I don't want people to think that I don't take penalties high anymore, because he's so kind of cerebral in how he takes his pens. He thinks about where did he go last time, and where the keeper, like, what is his tendencies that the keepers are. He tries to work out what the opponents are going to be thinking about what he's about to do. That's why he famously asked Ben Foster, like, if I'd had a penalty, what are you going to do? Because he's always trying to get the upper hand. So in his mind, he'd be thinking, if I've missed one going high, the last thing they're going to think is I'm going to go high again. So I'm going to go high, but I'm going to score it. But then he missed it. That's the problem.
By quite a bit.
Quite a bit.
And it did cross my mind when it happened. In that moment, was Charlie Adams sat at home in full kit? Full Liverpool kit going, see? It even happens to Mo Salah. But yeah, I mean, we'll come on to that as well. I keep saying we'll come on to stuff. We're jumping all over the show, and we're halfway through it. But yeah, we've got penalty chat on there in the agenda. But I'll try and do it a bit more in order now as to how I actually planned it out. So I wanted to start really this section of it by saying it was, of course, a good day for all the new signings, pretty much. Wirtz just looks like a superstar, looks like someone who's going to give us loads of great days and nights, is going to be someone we're really going to enjoy watching. Is he going to hit the ground running in England? Yes, he is, mate, yeah. Everything was going through him. There's maybe something to be said about, and what was the effect of that on Mo, because he was hardly in the game. But these are all tweaks, aren't they? Lots of change all at once in one summer. But focusing on him first of all, he was fantastic, wasn't he? It
was, and there were a few of the things that I was really looking out for that I got a big tick with. So one of them was physicality. Like, there was obviously a question when everyone comes into the league, can they handle the intensity? Can they handle the physicality? He was fine with that. And like, Palace weren't taking it easy on him by any chance. He was willing to kind of go into that battle. It was fine. His pressing was great. But the things that we knew we were going to get in terms of passing, appreciation of the ball, all that kind of stuff, it was right on point. And yeah, I don't remember the last time we had a new signing who we've basically given the keys to the team. And that's what we've done with him.
Yeah, 100%.
And it looks like it's going to be to the benefit of everybody. Well, nearly everybody. But no, even with Mo Salah, like, I think if you'd have said to Mo Salah at the beginning of the pre-season, look, we're going to sign this fella, and suddenly you're only going to have one defender on you the whole game, and you're probably going to have more space than you've had for the last 4 years. And he'll be like, sound.
Yeah, because he's always been the outlet, hasn't he? How many times have we said that the outball was Virgil to him, and now everything was going through Wirtz, and it was like maybe a bit too much. Maybe it was a bit like, because everything came down that side, didn't it? Like there's like a, whatever you want to look at, go and look at your heat maps or your whatever, and you will see everything goes down that side, and Mo's out here on his own going, what?
So the funny thing about it, the only time I can really remember where they did do that big long ball out there, it wasn't to Mo, it was to Frimpong. And what did he do with it? He scored. And that's the other thing. So
Defo never meant that. Like,
no, he didn't. No, he didn't. I think we're all okay with the fact.
Yeah, we're all right with that one.
Definitely did not mean that. But I was really made up for him as well because you want to see him happy, and I think he's been such a joyous force in the dressing room and around the group. So you want to see him.
I was pleasantly surprised that he fucking gets stuck in as well.
Oh yeah.
I was like, I know you're fast, I know you're skillful, I know you're a sound lad, but I didn't know about that bit. And then I was like, get in, lad. Come on!
And he's not massive either.
No.
So you'd think that there will be people who try and bully him. But
Exactly.
Again, that's the thing, isn't it? Sometimes when you get smaller people, they've had that their whole career, people trying to bully him, and it's like, no, I'm not gonna stand for it. But I do think the difference between in the game against Athletic Club, you had Szoboszlai over on that side near Mo Salah, and those two have got a good understanding in terms of when one's got the ball, where the other one goes, and space and all that kind of stuff. And Frimpong did a good job of kind of playing off them in that game. On Sunday, Szoboszlai was over on the other side, so it's basically all of those over the average positions map that you showed me in the agenda. I had a look at that earlier today, and it's just like all of them on one side. So Gakpo, Wirtz, Ekitike, Kirkes, Szoboszlai, all having a nice little gang of mates over here. And then you've just got a big gap.
Yeah.
And then Salah and Frimpong over here. And
Billy Mo, mate.
That's very good.
Thank you.
And obviously that gap's going to have to be closed. You're going to have to find a way for them to be connected more. I do think if you swap Szoboszlai and Jones over, and those kind of connections that Mo and Szoboszlai have already got, you're going to get a little bit more naturally of connection. But it's still early. And this is part of the teething problems of when you put 4 new players into the starting lineup, you're not going to be at your best from day one.
There's loads of mitigating circumstances, and I think Slot was trying to trot some of them out, wasn't he? And you want to try and strike the balance between sour grapes, bitter excuses, and reality.
Yeah.
And I thought he did all right with that. You know what I mean? Obviously, Alisson hasn't been around. You've had Virgil not being well. Virgil was doing some very un-Virgil things.
He was.
There's been loads of change. There's the players that's left. There's the players that's come in. There's stuff they planned for. There's unfortunately stuff they didn't plan for. Certainly in the tragic case of Diogo Jota. So there's lots that's gone on that is far from perfect in terms of preparation for the season. But equally, you saw loads of great stuff there. That first goal, 22 pass move, involving 9 players, and Ekitike. Ekitike. Is that okay this week? Sorry, mate. But I was getting it wrong last week. Okay, everyone told me, son. Ekitike scoring is very good. Because
just imagine...
you listen to any striker anywhere ever, they want to score for the new club. They want to get off the mark. He's done that. He's done that in good fashion. He maybe should have had a couple more. He definitely should have scored from 6 yards with his head. But I'm glad that he's off the mark and he looked good.
So the way to think about it is think about an Eccles tea cake. Eccles tea cake, Ekitike.
I don't know.
Look, I'm trying to help you here.
By the way, Nicholas Buseka, amazing throw in here from him. He's thrown in 100 Australian dollars.
Nice.
And he says, love your show, guys. Watching from Brisbane, Australia. Have a few drinks on me. Cheers. Nice one, Nick, lad.
Cheers.
Loving your work there. Thanks very much.
What time is it in Brisbane now?
Don't know, but he's on the aisle.
It's like
He's on the aisle. He didn't care about the big 50p, and he's here tuning into the late challenge, throwing 100 Australian dollars around. So fair
respect to you, yeah.
Thanks very much, mate. That's very kind of you.
What you were saying about Ekitike, though, and you do want to get off to a good start, and I think it's funny because there's been lots of talk about how he would react to the chase for Alexander Isak, and how much did he know about Liverpool planning to go for Isak when he signed for Liverpool, and just all of the general talk about it. Like, imagine you're a striker, because this is the thing, right? Before he signed for Liverpool, he is probably the most in-demand striker.
It's 2:44 a.m. Nick's confirmed. So he's up at nearly 3 bells watching us throwing $100 in. Nice on that.
Absolutely. But like, he was highly sought after up until the point he chose Liverpool.
Yeah.
And big money put on him. He's going to have a lot of pressure coming into the season. But all he hears is about this other fella who's apparently going to come in and kick him out of the starting lineup. And if I was him, I'd be well within my rights to be like, well, hang a minute. I'm here.
And I'm good.
And obviously,
I love how strong he is when he's running with the ball. Yeah. Like, that's the thing that's really stuck out for me so far. I mean, it's a good goal, but I just like the fact that you can see defenders going, all right, Tan, like, he looks a bit skinny, going to brush him off the ball. No, you're not, mate. No. And like, he defo knows it's in his own locker because he's just running with it, going, nah.
Yeah.
And I love that straight away.
So the misses, the first one, there's no getting around it. He should score. He knows he should score. You can tell in the look on his face. He knows he should score. It's a sitter. It's also 41 seconds into the second half. So you could maybe have a tiny mitigating circumstance around that. The second one, the shot, I still think that one's not a gimme.
No, it's not.
It would have been great if you'd have banged it in the top corner, but it's not a gimme. But when you see people making comparisons to, obviously, Darwin, missing chances, all that kind of gear, I think people have just got a bit of PTSD from Darwin. I don't think that every tiny little thing that he does, that was something that he does, is going to mean that he's going to turn into him. I think we need to kind of take a step back from that.
It's just a human condition, that, isn't it? I mean, I said it.
I know, yeah. But that's what I mean, because the emotional roller coaster that was Darwin Núñez was so intense that you almost feel like any sign of getting into that, you want to kind of run away from it. But there were so many other things that he was doing in this game that Darwin could. So, like, some of the little flicks around the corner he was doing, like,
he links well with Wirtz, doesn't he? Straight away, you can see that
those two are on the same wavelength straight away, and that is massive.
Yeah.
Because if there was two people who you need to have on the same wavelength, it's the guy who's going to put the ball in the back of the net and the guy who's going to give him the ball.
I think it's interesting as well that, the manager takes him off because, he says it's not a great idea to have him potentially injured in this game when we're playing on Friday in 4 days. And that sort of like was a bit of a wake-up call, I think, for a lot of people who have been going, well, why would you buy Isak as well? Because how's he going to fit in? And then you take him off, and it's like, well, who's going up front now? I mean, he could have. There's other stuff he could have done. Obviously, Ngamoa could have come on, and maybe Gakpo could have gone central or whatever. But it was a little reminder of, the defo both get minutes. Yeah, like, it'll be fine.
There were lots of little questions answered in those last 20 minutes because, number one, when Ekitike came off, Wirtz was the false nine, so that's definitely going to happen. Number two, he didn't bring on Chiesa. He didn't bring on Ben Doak. So you think, saying those two as potential options, it's really hard to say. Rio, I think, is a separate case. I think it's very much going to be managed. I think because he's great and we all want to see more of him and we're all kind of in that initial rush of, let's see what he can do. Slot is more measured. He knows that, no, we need to be able to take him away from the spotlight for a little bit and then reintroduce him back slowly at the right times. So he's not just going to come in and be a straightaway sub in every game kind of situation. But what that does mean is that if you look at the current Liverpool forward line, there's 3 of them. And I mean, when I asked Slot about this on the press conference before this game, he mentioned obviously Frimpong can play as a right winger and all that kind of stuff. That's sound when you've got another right back, but currently our other 2 right backs are both injured. So it's hard to then say, is he going to do both? I don't think one man can do both. Not at the same time anyway. So then you get into a situation where it's like, last season, we had at least 5 senior attackers in the matchday squad 32 out of 38 league games. And we had 6 for 13 of those 38 league games. That's a third of the time we had 6. So we had the opportunity that if it wasn't working, to entirely change the front three with 3 completely other guys. We didn't do it very often, but we had the option to do it. So clearly, that's a desirable thing to have. At the moment, we are nowhere near that. So, in my mind, I don't think if we just sign Isak, then that problem solves. I think we need him and someone else, personally.
He's going all in on the transfers. I mean, a couple of other things. Gravenberch, I thought, was a big miss on the day.
Congratulations to him, though.
Yeah, congratulations, Rye. I'm sure you're tuning in to the late challenge right now. Drop a super chat in, lad, or super like. One day I'll know what they're called. I mean, one concern about that is, sorry for people who may not have realised this. So he's not available on Friday either, because he's got a 1-match ban after being sent off against Crystal Palace on the last day of last season. So whatever we're going to do with midfield, it's got to be resolved without him for Friday for the big kickoff. And I think midfield control is probably, one of the biggest concerns right now, isn't it? Lots of people are saying, is the balance right? The fullbacks are like bombing on and they're so high, and those average position things, you're like, they don't even look like fullbacks, mate. You know what I mean? Like, they're right up there. And, we know that Gravenberch's brilliant at doing loads of the firefighting. His positional sense, his sense of danger and all that rest of it. He isn't going to be there on Friday. So, and it also, what's slotted in the game, Endo's introduced 70-odd minutes, isn't he? And it was clearly he thought that was the way of sort of winning it. Yeah. And it didn't prove to be the case. So, what are they going to do against Bournemouth?
I'm fascinated because the Endo thing, it wasn't just that they brought Endo on, it's they brought him and McAllister on. And what do those two have in common? They are the best 2 midfielders at winning the ball, winning duels. And, we've given Dom Szoboszlai lots of credit and lots of praise for how he's played in midfield. In fact, the last game against Athletic Club, I thought he was fantastic. But if there's one thing that he really doesn't do that well, it's win duels and win the ball back. And it's hard to say you can play centre mid without having that. And so Slot clearly felt like that was what was needed in the game because he put his 2 ball winners on at the same time. But he also didn't take Szoboszlai off. He kind of pushed him further up and said, go and do the thing that we know that you like doing. So what are we going to do on Friday? We're going to have to hope, for starters, that McAllister's fit to start. Yeah. Because we need at least one of those 2. Yeah. And then from there, it's like, does McAllister Szoboszlai look a more secure midfield than Jones Szoboszlai? Or is it McAllister Jones? Or is it McAllister Endo? Personally, I'd probably be going McAllister Szoboszlai.
I think it'd be that.
And then seeing where we are.
Be very surprised to see Endo starting a game, to be honest. I don't, that's not what he's for.
No,
that's not where he is in the pecking order. I really meant to mention this before because it made me laugh, and then I've just remembered it, laughed again. So I'm going to read it out. We slightly moved away from when he sent it, but it's still good. So Ian Schroeder said earlier, Vert spent most of the time in the sunny area of the pitch because Will Hughes was too scared to go there as it was that hot. That made me laugh, mate. So nice one. Up the Stanley and Heighton Reds there. Right, where were we up to? Midfield control. Yeah, we sort of done that, haven't we? I mean, the other thing as well, just to reassert the point that, we have made a load of change. There will be some teething problems. As long as we can win games while sorting the teething problems out, everyone's going to be happy, aren't they? And we'll be all right. But there's probably something there in terms of a C, in that Palace just fielded the same side that won the FA Cup and look good. They all knew what the jobs were doing. They caused us problems. And, it's shown that thing that we all know is a thing in football, that continuity works.
Matters.
Understanding matters. And throwing, four lads in. And, okay, they've been in with each other a bit, but it is literally a bit, isn't it? Ekitike hasn't been with us very long at all, which again slop through out there just to remind people.
You've been there 2 weeks.
Yeah, the lad's not been here very long, and so he's come in and done well.
Yeah.
So sound, and as time goes on and people know what type of player he is and the runs he makes and where he's going to be and what he's good at and what he's not so good at, they'll all start to gel and we'll be flying.
And
we'll be all right.
It's funny because in the press conference after the game, I asked Oliver Glasner, did he, because Liverpool is so different between now and the game we played against them in May, did you do anything different tactically? Or did you adapt your game plan because there's all these new players and potentially a new system and maybe more attacking from Liverpool? And he was like, no, my players are the same. We did the same thing. I know what we wanted to do was the same, and we went out there and we did it. And that's exactly what you said. Like, that cohesion is so important. And to be honest, like, there's been times this season where if you listen to Oliver Glasner, he's not been entirely happy the fact that they have only signed one player. Like,
no, he's not.
He probably would rather have that they more.
Got news for you as well, mate. Now that you're not in the Europa League, you're about 20 million quid down.
Yeah.
And we did say we were going to come on to this, so we'll do it here. Dave's just sort of stood still, haven't they? And no one's gone out. No one's really come in, as you say, and they've just sort of been in this limbo. Well, the decision's being made. They are in the Conference League, whether they like it or not. That is where they will be competing. That is where they'll be playing the football. It is still their first time in Europe. And personally, if I was a Palace fan, I'd be looking at that and saying, well, I'm still going to have a great time, lads. And I'm sure a lot of them will. And by the way, we will talk about the other bollocks a bit later on, the booing and the silence and all that kind of stuff. People tarring a whole fan base on the action of however many you want it to be. Because if I say a few, you'll say it wasn't a few. There are plenty of sound Palace fans, and we don't have to do the thing where we now say, well, because that silence was interrupted, they're now not. That doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And there are some good Palace fans that I've met, and they will enjoy themselves in Europe, wherever that might be. And good on them, do you know what I mean? And they will have a chance of winning the thing. No guarantee. Like, I mean, I heard someone talking on the radio earlier about, well, they can just go and win that. And I was like, that's actually still not easy, you know what I mean? Like, you still have, like, you've had sides like Fiorentina in the competition and stuff like that. They aren't mugs.
It's more games as well. So Glasner was saying that it was a difference between, I think it's 5 extra games because they're in the qualifier.
In the Conference League.
Because they're in the qualifier round. Obviously, once it gets to the group stage, there's less group games for the Conference League than there is for the Europa League. But to just get there, it's 5 extra games. So, and one of them is against, going to be probably against Midfield, who've been in Europa League.
That's right, yeah.
And we played them in Champions League about 4 years ago. So they're obviously European veterans. So they're going to know the ways and wherefores of a two-legged football. So it's not going to be easy. But what I would also say is that I've seen lots of people saying, oh, well, now they're in the Conference League, they've got more chance of winning than if they're in the Europa League. Have we forgotten how bad the 2 teams who were in the Europa League final were last season?
No, yeah.
And the fact that Palace finished above both of them in the league. I think they'd have had a good chance of winning that one as well because they would have been straight into the group stage. So I'd still be feeling pretty pissed off if I was a Palace fan, to be honest with you. But like you say, it's a...
I mean, I'd be pissed off with the people running the club, to be honest, because, like, we can do all the rule isn't right and all that kind of stuff, but, like, the rule is about multi-club ownership, and we do need to guard against multi-club ownership, because let's be honest, if 2 clubs owned by the same people were in the final, you'd be like, how does this work?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, the opportunities for something a bit mad are there for all to see. And so, therefore, should the finger not be pointed internally and say, lads, how did we get here? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, with the shareholding and all that stuff. I don't know completely all the ins and outs, but I've heard enough to suggest that they should be taking a bit of a look at themselves. It's not really our concern. I don't want to do too much on it. What I wanted to focus on is, of course, we need a centre-half. Everyone's looking at it and saying, get a centre-half in, mate. We've been linked to Mark Gay over and over. It's gone a little bit quiet. Now it's not quiet again. He's played in this game. We've had the ruling. And now Steve Parish is saying, well, what about if someone put a bid in again for Mark? How would that work? Would you listen to it? And he said, yeah, I mean, we'd have to, of course. And he said, for players of that calibre, because he's in the last year of his contract, of course, for players of that calibre to leave on a free, it's a problem, no doubt about it, unfortunately. We had one bid last summer, but Anderson went to Fulham and we couldn't afford to lose both of them. We then had another bid in January, but that was a difficult situation as well, and the player had a point of view on that one. So we just have to see what happens, whether it needs a new contract or a conclusion of some kind. Now, a conclusion of some kind is obviously he could go.
Yeah.
And one of the main clubs that have been linked with him in fairly recent times is the mighty Reds. So there's every chance, I think, that now happens, particularly after what's happened today.
Yeah, thought he played all right yesterday as well, actually.
Yeah.
Like, lots of talk about him being very short, but he looked like he won fair few of his battles in the air. He's got good passing. It'll be interesting to see if he can play on the right-hand side, because even though Palace often play the three, he's normally on the left-hand side, and obviously that's where Virgil lives. So I think the two parts of this deal which I think are going to be the hardest to square is, number one, convincing him that he'll still be able to play enough for us that it won't harm his chances of getting to the World Cup. Personally, I think that he's far enough ahead of most of the other centre-halves in the country that it should be all right. Like, he's going to be playing Champions League football for Liverpool, which he wouldn't be for Palace, so that should be a bonus. And then the other thing is the money. And Liverpool have been playing hardball with money all summer and will continue to play hardball. And because Palace are the ones who are currently, they've got one hand behind their back, as Steve Parish basically just admitted. Yeah. So unless there gets to be some kind of bidding war, and
I mean, you could hang on till January, but then they're going to get less for him again.
Exactly. And you think who else is out there who's looking to buy him? Well, Chelsea was sniffing around, but now allegedly they're not going to, because they've just got the 5 senior centre-halves, so that should be all right, and 3 others who can play there.
Colwell's out though, isn't he, for the season?
No, but 5, not including him.
Yeah.
And then 2 others who can play centre-half, like Reece James can play centre-half. Anyway. Newcastle just bought one, Malik Thiaw. So they were the other team who was, they were the ones who were making all those bids last summer.
Yeah.
So it looks like Liverpool are going to have a pretty clear run at him. It's just whether or not Liverpool decides to play silly buggers and like bid 20, 22. Yeah. Like treat it like it's basically one of them CD players you want to buy on eBay, but you don't really want to pay that much for it. So you just put in a shitty bid and then you wait and see if anyone else goes it. And then like with a minute to go, you'll be like, all right, make it a little bit more.
I feel like we'd all just sleep a little bit better that night if we just got him signed, to be honest with you. Doesn't seem like we've been linked with, in any serious way, to a lot of other names. There was the lad at Brentford, wasn't there?
Nathan Collins.
Brentford seemed quite keen to keep hold of him. Yes. Not unreasonably. Whereas this just feels like if you pay either the asking price or close to, you're gonna get him, because that Steve Parish quote feels very come and get me play type scenario. Okay, well, we've got about 7 minutes, 8 minutes, something like that left of the normal slot for a free show. So we will touch on. Well, no, actually, we won't. We won't, because there's other stuff that we haven't done. So you know what? I'll put the boob and stuff and all that stuff in Patreon. And I know that the title of the show is Liverpool Booze, Backlash and Big Questions, but we've done it before. We move it on to Patreon, and it gives you a reason to come over and watch it.
There you go.
If you want to know what my opinion about all of that might be. But there you go. So instead, I wanted to talk also about the penalties thing, because a lot of people are, baby out with the bathwater and all that kind of stuff about, as we said before, Mo misses a penalty in the friendly, then does the same thing the following week, 2 in a week. Some might say, and some do say, that he's never been truly convincing on the penalties as well. I've got a thing in my head where I think all the best telling him that he's not doing it anymore. But then I've also got a thing in my head that if anyone can, Arne Slot can.
Well, yeah.
Because I don't think he gives a shit about stuff like that. I feel like, Jurgen Klopp had a bit of a mad relationship with Mo at times. We saw it, obviously boil over on a couple of occasions. Just to put the penalty thing into perspective, I went to the excellent website LFC History. Those boys do an amazing job and continue to do so. Great set of lads. And in terms of penalty takers in Liverpool's history, right at the top, not smaller sample size, but nevertheless, right at the top, Danny Murphy. 8 penalties, scored all of them, 100% success rate. And some nice ones as well, some momentous ones.
Yeah.
Old Trafford. But anyway, and then second, this took me surprise, 6 out of 6, 100%, Mark Walters.
That's the maddest one, because think about who was the strikers around that time. Rush was there, Dean Saunders was there, who we paid big money for, and Walters is the one taking pens.
Did not expect to see Mark Walters there. Aldo is there in third place, 94.44%. He scored 17 out of 18, and the poor fella is still beating himself up to this day about the one he missed in the FA Cup final. He genuinely is.
I know, yeah.
He genuinely, isn't he? And you're like, mate, let it go. Like, we all love you. We think you're great. You played for the Reds. You fulfilled your dream. You went abroad. You went to Spain. You had a great time there.
You won the FA Cup the year later.
Yeah, people were giving you stakes for scoring goals in Spain. That's not bad. And he's like, we literally did at the Wrap like a little sort of mini documentary on penalties and the psychology of taking penalties and all that. And John very kindly let me have a little interview with him about it. And he said, it still comes up. Like, he's literally traumatized by the fact that he missed that penalty.
That shows to me how the mental side is so important in penalties. And even more so when it's a penalty shootout, because what you get is the ability to someone else taking a penalty has the ability to influence the one after. Like, I was talking to one of the other journalists in the game, after the game, sorry. And we were talking about, I wonder how many times when the first person misses, the second person also misses, because it feels like it happens quite a lot. And particularly when the first person is your main penalty taker. But we were talking before about Mo and about how he goes into such detail. It does make me laugh that a lot of people still think that they're nervous about it. And I think a large part of that is when he does that mad run.
Yeah, I don't know.
A lot of people aren't having that.
No.
But the fact remains that if you look at his numbers...
Well, I was coming to that.
Okay.
So Jan Molby, 93%.
I mean, he's an anomaly. He's an anomaly, though, isn't he?
Ledge. 45 penalties for Liverpool. He scored 42 of them. And his penalties were boss as well. What a fella. James Milner, 19 out of 21, only missed 2, 90.4%. And Mo Salah, I mean, the players in between after that, Willie Fagan, Willie Stevenson, Jack Parkinson. I'm not sure there's too many of us around who witnessed their penalty taking. But yeah, Mo Salah's next up, 9th in the history of Liverpool in terms of penalties. He's taken 52, he's scored 44, and he's missed 8. So it's a conversion rate of 84.62%. Which I would say isn't bad. No,
and I think you've got to really acknowledge the volume here. So you're looking at, there's 5 players on that list who've taken 45 or more penalties. As I mentioned, Jan Molby is the anomaly. Of all of the other 4, they've all missed more than Salah has.
I mean, Steven Gerrard missed 10, took 57.
Phil Neal's another one who people talk about being a great penalty taker. He missed, 13?
Billy Liddell missed 11, took 45.
So when you're like...
Tommy Smith missed 10, took 32. John Barnes missed 5 and took 15.
Yeah, well, that's bad. Sorry, John, that is bad.
John Barnes has been rapping again.
I know. We won't talk about that on this. Come over to the Patreon show if you want to hear my thoughts on that. You can probably guess. But no, the point is, and it sounds really obvious to say it, but the more penalties you take, the more chance you have of missing a penalty. So the players who've missed most penalties are the ones who are taking the most penalties. So and we looked at Liverpool history. I think if you went Premier League wide, you'd probably find the same thing. Obviously,
well, he was knocking on the door to be the prime penalty taker anyway. You know what I mean?
So, and this is the funniest thing about it.
It's not like he's holding someone back that I can see who's like who's like Jan. You know what I mean?
Did you see Soboslai's pen though?
Yeah, well, that's the one where I would think he's got the potential to be the penalty. If you were saying to me like who do you think it'd be, I would say him, and I'm sure you would as well. But equally, we don't have a big sample size.
No.
I mean, we know he strikes a ball.
He does
really
it for
well.
Hungary, but again, I think pressure comes into it. So like. He's taken some pressure penalties for Hungary. Fair enough. I think that's what, and he's the captain there, so he got the pressure. We have to remember, like back in, I think it was the 2018 World Cup, was it? When Mo Salah had a penalty to take to Egypt to the World Cup and he scored it. Like, is there much more pressure than that? I don't think so. Like, did he not score a penalty inside 2 minutes in the Champions League final? That's pretty much a lot of pressure.
I think what you're saying, and I think you're right, is that we can leave him to work this out.
Yeah, I trust him.
I don't think he clocks off. Do you know what I mean? I don't think he'll be like, nah, I'm all right. He'll be like, right, I'm going to do 1 million penalties before I take the next one. I'm going to study absolutely every aspect of it, and I'm going to box this.
Yeah.
So I think he probably will
also,
box it.
I mean, we've still not had the announcement of who's going to be the vice captain, but it feels like he's becoming a larger favourite for that. And if he is that, then yeah, he's taking pens. I think as well, the other thing about him, what we were saying before about him not being as involved in the game, obviously we've bought one big striker, we're possibly buying another big striker who most of the chances are probably going to fall to them. He's going to be creating a lot of the chances, but he still wants to score goals. And so penalties are still going to be his thing. Like, I'd be amazed if he let anyone take another penalty when he's on the pitch.
But maybe the manager will intervene. We will see. I mean, someone mentioned Virgil in the comments, and that immediately made me smile because who can not think about the Kepa moment and the sheer disrespect of him saying, "What, you want to do that to me? Do you?" Have that, lad. That was some moment. That was absolutely superb. Right, okay, well, we're going to leave it there for the free show. We've got plenty to talk about in the Patreon show. We are going to talk about the national anthem booing. We are going to talk about the disrespect for the minute silence for Diogo Jota and his brother. We're going to talk about your tweets. We've had plenty in, loads of questions here, there and everywhere about all different topics, so we'll answer some of them. I mean, we probably will talk about, we're starting to have some ideas around how we might develop the Late Challenge further, how we might give it a little bit of a reboot, how we might do a bit more stuff and things like that. So we're going to go over on Patreon and talk likely about that as well. So if you fancy all of that, please do come over. All of those who are watching live right now, thanks very much for watching live. Thanks for your comments. You obviously made the job a lot easier. I used a lot of your comments there, so thanks for that.
Well, good stuff.
Thanks as well for all the people who've thrown in the money, not least Nicholas, with his huge $100 Australian donation.
Like, normally I would say everybody...
50 nick of that, lad.
I know. Normally I would say everyone who's on the YouTube, you've got no excuse to not come over to Patreon. You can go to bed if you want, mate. You have my permission to get your head down if you need to.
And lad, if you're over in that and you fancy a bevy at one of the games, I'll get you one in the solly. All right, deal. Shake hands. Right, yeah, thank you. Come back next week. Come over to Patreon. Share it if you like it. Interact with us on social media. And and I nearly didn't say it as well. I asked you in the week to click subscribe on our YouTube channel. It costs nothing. It helps us. It helps us grow. It shows YouTube that people like it. It means you get a little notification when we go live. All of those things are reasons to click it. And it feeds our ego. It makes us feel good. We're up to 14.6 thousand right now. Be lovely to see that hit 15. There'll be loads of you who watch who just forget or don't do it or whatever. It only takes a minute, girl, to fall in love. You just press the button, and there it is. It's done. I've no idea where that come from either. Should we leave it there?
If you understand that reference, then I'm sorry. That's all I can say.
Should we leave it there? I need a brew. I'm tired. London and back in one day is far for a near 50-year-old man. Okay. See you next week. Love you. Bye.